students. I am Dr. Monica, working as Associate Professor in NIET Pharmacy Institute, Greater Noida, affiliated to APJ Abdul Kalam University. So, I am going to take your subject, that is Pharmaceutical Microbiology, having code BP303T. I have already taken my few lectures, that is almost I have covered up my work related to in the 6 lectures. That was mainly that those lectures were dealing with, that is bacteria. We covered up unit number 1. In unit number 1 we deal with, that is inoculation part. We even did with the isolation techniques, how to, we even studied the structure of bacteria, we studied the procedures, how we can inoculate them, how we can grow them in the lab, how we can cultivate those bacteria in the lab. In today's lecture, I will like to cover up the microbial growth. Once we have inoculated our bacteria, our microorganisms within the culture media, within the nutrient media, after that they grow. Now, the first content which I am going to deal with today is, that is microbial growth. Along with that, I will like to cover up, that is growth curve also. Okay, how we can we can cover up the curve, how curve deals with, and how growth takes place within the media of bacteria, of viruses, of fungi. So, I will cover the microbial growth and how that growth take place, and after that I will try to cover up the methods used to measure the microbial growth, how we can determine the amount of microbes which are there within the culture media, and how many bacterial species are there, how many viruses are there, how many fungi species are there within the culture you are having. So, how we can determine the count, how we can determine the microbial count within any of the culture media. So, there are various methods by which we can go for calculation part, how we can determine the microbial count. That includes serial dilution and plating technique. Second method deals with the microscopic count, in which we usually use the hemocytometer, and last content I will like to cover up, that is turbidity method. But in this lecture I will just focus on one method, that is serial dilution and plating technique. Rest of the part we will deal in the next lecture, in my upcoming lecture. So, in this I will just cover up the first technique, that is serial dilution and plating technique. So, these 3 contents I am going to deal with today. One is microbial growth within any of the nutrient media, and second topic which I am going to deal with is the serial dilution methods to measure the microbial growth within any of the culture media. So, starting with first, now what is actually how microbes grow and how bacteria grow within any of the nutrient media. So, first thing you can see, whenever we take the culture or we take the species, we first of all inoculate those species within the nutrient media, and we do not know how many microbes or how many bacteria we have inoculated within that media. First, suppose how growth takes place in the starting. What will happen if there is only, if we suppose that we have inoculated one bacteria within the culture media or within the nutrient media, as you can see even in this slide, that if there is only one bacteria inoculated within the nutrient media, then this bacteria, this is the one bacteria. What will happen when we have inoculated it? It will grow. First the cell elongates and the DNA is replicated. So, cell jo hota hai, this is what we call as cell, and this cell first gets elongate, and what will happen? It will replicate also. As you can see, DNA starts separating out, it will start replicating out. This is the DNA part. So, once we have inoculated any of the bacteria in the nutrient media, what will happen? It will grow in size, there will be a lag phase, it will adapt to the media culture, it will adapt to the nutrients, whatever nutrients have been added within the media. So, first it will get stabilized, as well as the cell starts elongating. Second part is the cell wall and the plasma membrane begin to divide. What will happen? The cell membrane, as you can see, this is the cell membrane and this one is the plasma membrane. So what will happen, as the cell elongates and plasma membrane elongate, there comes a division within the cell. So plasma membrane begin to divide. After that, in the third step, what will happen, cross wall forms completely around the divided DNA. As you can see in this, there will be a cross wall which will dwell within the cell, and in the fourth step the cells will separate out into the two parts. As from one cell, now we have got two cells, that means their division occurs and one cell will get converted to two cells, but it takes some time. There is always a lag phase during the generation or during the growth part. One cell get divided into two cells, but first of all it will elongate, and after that it will stabilize within the environment, in the nutrient, whatever nutrients have been there within the media. After that, as you can see, as I was telling, one cell will get divided into two cells, and from two cells the four cells will generate, and from four cells, as you can see, 8 cells will generate. So there is always a exponential increase within the number of microorganisms, number of the bacteria, whatever bacteria you will inoculate within the sample or within the that is culture media. What will happen, there will be a exponential increase within the number of bacteria. As you can see even in this slide, that one cell will divide into 2, and 2 cells will further divide into 4, and 4 cells will further divide into 8, and as you can see, from 1 you will get 2, and from 2 4, and from 4 to 8. In this way growth takes place within the nutrient media. So exponential increase is there, as you can see in this column, that there will be an exponential increase, like 2 raised to power 0 generates 1 cell, 2 raised to power 1 2, 2 raised to power 2 4. In this way you will get the growth curve, that is there will be an increase in number of microorganism. If you have inoculated one bacteria, then it will generate 2, and further 2 bacteria will get divided into 4 bacteria, and 4 bacteria will further divide into 16 bacteria. So in this way there will be a exponential increase within the number of microorganisms or number of bacteria, as you can see from the microbial growth, how microbial growth takes place. After that, when a broth culture is inoculated, what will happen when you inoculate bacteria within the culture media? The small bacterial inoculum, when has been inoculated within the media, the population size of the bacteria increases. And how it increases, as I have shown in the previous slide, that increase will be exponential. If one microbacteria has been inoculated or inoculum contains just one bacteria, it will further grow into 2, and 2 will further grow into 4 bacteria, showing a classical pattern. As I have told, exponential increase will be there, that means they are showing classical pattern. After that, even we can plot a graph. Graphically also we can explain the microbial growth, and how we can show how we can get a plot, that is plot on a graph. A distinct curve will be obtained, referred to as bacterial growth, where we always say as growth curve. Now what actually growth curve is, when we represent our data in the form of graphical, in the form of a graph, then that is known as your growth curve. And how we can represent our growth curve, you can see in my next slide that there is an exponential increase, as in the previous slide I was saying that exponentially bacteria increase from 1 to 2 and from 2 to 4. Similarly we can even represent in this way, that we have plotted a graph. Graph will indicate on the x axis we can take the time period, and on y axis we can take the number of microorganisms which are increasing, and the whole growth curve can be divided into 4 parts. Now how we can divide this growth curve? Mainly we divide our growth curve into 4 parts. Those 4 parts are, one is, as you can see here, it is a lag phase. First we have the lag phase. Second, we have the growth phase. That growth phase, I told you that that growth phase will be exponential, 2 to 4, that is 1 to 2, 2 to 4, 4 to 8. So exponential growth curve we will see, and next phase will be stationary phase, and in next will be death phase. So there are, you can see there are 4 phases in the curve, growth curve. One is lag phase, second one is that is exponential growth phase, and third one is stationary phase, and fourth one is your death phase. Now what actually lag phase means? As I told even before, that what is lag phase? When there is no increase in number of bacteria, there is no increase in number of microorganisms. When we have inoculated, first immediately they will not separate out or they will not divide in numbers, but first of all they will adapt to the conditions in which we have inoculated them. They will adapt to the nutrients we have provided to those microorganisms. They will elongate in size, but they will not divide. In the lag phase, there is no division. If we have inoculated 2 cells, the cells will remain 2, and if we have inoculated 3 cells, the cells remains the 3. In lag phase, they will just adapt to the conditions in which they are going to grow. And second phase is your growth phase, and in growth phase what will happen? They will divide in numbers. Now they will start dividing from 1 to 2, 2 to 4, 4 to 8, 8 to 16. So there will be an exponential growth you can see in the graph, and after that comes the stationary phase. Now what we mean by stationary phase? Stationary phase is a phase in which there is equal growth and equal death rate. There will be no increase in number remains the same. Whatever the number comes here, the number will remain the same, because there are no nutrients will go on depleting with time. As the time moves, nutrients will deplete, and we have equal number of deaths to the equal number of growth. Whatever growth is taking place, equal number of microorganisms, equal number of bacteria are even dying. So here we have stationary phase. There is no increase, but the growth remains stationary. If here there is 30 bacteria, they will remain 30 up to till this thing. Though no growth, no equal growth, equal death. And next comes the death phase or decline phase, when number of microorganisms or number of bacteria will go on decreasing in number. Now the nutrients deplete at all, and they don't get any nutrients to grow. So the number of bacteria are going on depleting. Number of bacteria will reduce, and we will have the decline phase. So this is how we can represent our, that is, microbial growth. The microbial growth can be divided into 4 phases. First phase, lag phase. Second phase, we have exponential growth phase. Third phase, stationary phase, and last one is your decline phase, when the number of microorganisms go on decreasing. So next, in the previous slide I have told you about the microbial growth, because the number of microorganisms are going on increasing at exponential rate. At stationary phase there will be no growth, and equal number of bacteria will grow and equal number of bacteria will die, and in the last phase, death phase. Now how we can get it, and how we can determine the count of bacteria? Now as we are saying that number of bacteria are going on increasing or number of bacteria are going on decreasing, but what is the procedure to count? Is it possible to quantitatively estimate the number of microorganisms, number of bacteria which are growing? So in this slide I will like to tell you about the various methods, the methods which are used to measure the microbial growth, or the methods used to determine the microbial growth. How we can determine that how much bacteria are there within the culture media, how many bacteria are there within the nutrient media. So in this first method, as you can see, serial dilution and plating method we have, in which we generally use the colony counters. Colony counters are the equipments or are the instruments through which we can count the colonies, number of colonies dwelled within the media. Second method is hemocytometer technique. This is generally the microscopic technique by which we can count the number of bacteria, number of microorganisms within the Petri plates, or within the we can count the number of microorganisms microscopically or using the microscopes. And last method is your turbidity methods. So out of these 3, as you can see, there are 3 methods. First one is serial dilution, second one is microscopic count method, and third one is turbimetric method or turbidity methods. Out of this, in this lecture I would like to explain serial dilution and plating technique in detail. But before moving ahead, I will like to tell you about two things. One is viable count and second one is total count. Now what we mean by viable count and what we mean by total count. So viable count means number of living bacteria. Viable deals with the number of living bacteria which are live, which can grow in number. So viable microorganisms or viable bacteria are the bacteria which can increase in number, and total count indicates the viable count plus the dead microorganisms. It also includes the total count. Total count means it includes dead microorganisms within the culture media. Along with that, it will also count the living microorganisms. So we have to quantitatively estimate. So in some cases we have to estimate the viable count, in some cases we need to know about the total count. Now how we can determine whether our how much bacteria are there within the, or how much live bacteria are there within the culture media, and how much number of dead microorganisms are there within the media. So how we can count? There are three techniques as you can see, but the first technique that is serial dilution and plating technique, it will gives us the viable count only. By this technique we can only determine the number of living microorganism. We can't have a total count, or we can't have a count of dead microorganism. By this technique we can only go for the viable count, in which we will just find out how many living bacteria are there within the culture media or within the nutrient media. And microscopic techniques using a special instrument known as hemocytometer instrument. By that instrument we can count even the total count, and as well as we can even go for the viable count. Usse we can count dead microorganisms, dead bacteria, we can count even the living bacteria. So microscopic techniques deal with the both the count, that is total and viable count. And last technique is known as turbidity technique. In this we actually use an instrument known as spectrophotometer. Now what spectrophotometer is? It is an instrument which determine the UV rays, which determine the which determine the visible rays. So spectrophotometers are the instruments which are used to determine the turbidity, and are used to find out the total count of microorganisms, how many living and how many dead microorganisms are there. It will gives us the total count. As you can see, we can serial dilution will gives us just the viable count. Microscopic technique will gives us the total as well as the viable count, whereas turbidity techniques will just gives us the total count. As you can see in this serial dilution and plating technique, what will happen? We even done in our previous lectures also what we mean by serial dilution and what we mean by plating technique. In serial dilution, as you can see, this is the original inoculum. The inoculum, the media in which we want to count the number of microorganisms, we want to count the number of viable microorganism, that is living microorganism. What we need to do? If we inoculate or we directly transfer this sample, suppose we are having 9 ml, 10 ml of original inoculum, and we just transfer 1 ml of this original inoculum into a plate, in a Petri plate in which we have already added the media in which our microorganisms, our bacteria can grow. What will happen if we transfer 1 ml directly to this? We will not be able to count, because the sample is highly concentrated. If we are having concentrated samples which contains large number of microorganisms or large number of bacteria, then if we transfer that sample into the plate or Petri plate, that will not generate the results we require. What we need to do? We need to dilute those samples into various dilution. Now how we can dilute the samples? Because if we generate the colonies from this sample, it will give highly concentrated and we will not be able to differentiate the colonies. We have to transfer 1 ml of the original inoculum into the second test tube, and in the second test tube we have to dilute 1 ml of this will be diluted to 9 ml with the 9 ml water, distilled water, that must be sterile, that must not contain any of the bacteria or any of the microorganisms. 1 ml of this will be transferred to this, that will be diluted with the help of either sterile nutrient media or sterile water to 10 ml. Means we have done the dilution, that is 10 times dilution. 1 ml original inoculum to we take, we added it into the test tube, and 10 times we have diluted with the 9 ml of broth. That broth must be sterile in nature. Once this has been diluted, after that again we will take 1 ml of this from this test tube and transfer to the next, and after transferring we will get, that is dilution, 100 times dilution will be done. 1 ml of original inoculum transferred to this and diluted 10 times, 10 times, and in this case we have diluted the original inoculum 100 times. In this case again we will transfer 1 ml from this to this, and this will generate, that is 1000 times dilution, and in this case you can see 10,000 time dilution, and here you can see that is 1 lakh time dilution. Now what is the reason for diluting the sample? We are just diluting the samples to decrease the number of bacteria so that we can generate the colonies within the media. Now what we will do, we will the number of test tubes we have taken for the dilution, same number of Petri plates we need to have, and we have to transfer 1 ml of this sample to this Petri plate, 1 ml of this sample to this Petri plate, 1 ml of this sample to this Petri plate, and 1 ml to this Petri plate, and those Petri plate must contain the media in which the bacteria will grow. These Petri plates are already having the media in which those bacteria can grow, and as you can see in the first Petri plate we have concentrated colonies. Once we will incubate that sample, and after 7 days we will observe that Petri plate, there will be growth, but we won't be able to differentiate the colonies. But as you can see in the last Petri plate, there are only 1, 2, 3, 4 colonies. We can see 4 colonies in the last Petri plate, because the samples we have diluted, it resulted in less number of microorganism. Dilution reduces the number of bacteria, and in Petri plate we can easily count the colonies which generated. As in this Petri plate you can see 4 bacteria are there, and in this Petri plate there are much more bacteria, in this higher number, in this higher, and in this we have highly concentrated sample, and we won't be able to count the bacteria in these 3 Petri plates. But in the last 2 we can easily count, and we can easily find out the colonies, number of colonies within the Petri plate. So what we need to see the colonies, once we have developed the Petri plates, as you can see in this diagram, we have Petri plates, and these Petri plates contain the microorganisms, the bacteria colonies which are countable. We will place those Petri plates on the colony counter. What will happen, once you have placed the Petri plate containing colonies, we can observe with the help of this lens, and we have a marker pen on which we can mark the colonies, and we can easily count with the help of colony counter. This one is the colony counter, and we can count the colonies, whatever colonies are there generated within the Petri plate. So after counting the colonies, what we will get? This is the data you can get after counting the colonies. Suppose in the as you can see in this slide, we have, if in the last plate, this is serial dilution plating technique, and once you have generated the plate contains, as in the last plate we just have 4 bacteria. Similarly, there may be Petri plates in which we have counted 55 bacteria. Maybe there are 55 bacteria within this Petri plates, but those colonies must be countable. If we are not able to count those colonies, we will not consider that Petri plate for further quantitative estimation. We will take only that Petri plate in which the colonies are visible, and we are able to see those colonies, and we are able to count those colonies within that Petri plate. So in this case we can see the best Petri plate is this one, in which we have more than 9 colonies and but less than 100 colonies. The best counting plate, the plate which we need to focus on, is the plate which must contain more than 9 and less than 100 colonies only, then we will go for that plating. So in this case we will take suppose this plate in which colonies are visible, we can easily count the colonies and number of colonies are less than 100 but more than 9. So this is the best plate which we will select for the counting. So once we have counted with the help of colony counter the number of bacteria, what we can see, we can make a table like this, and in this table first column contains dilution, second column contains bacterial count, and third column contains viable count. So dilution means the plate which you have selected for counting, giving the quantitative estimation in the original inoculum. Ki agar if I am having a plate in which I have counted colonies were visible and I have counted, suppose I counted 55 colonies were there in that plate in which those colonies were visible and the number was more than 9 and less than 100. So that plate contains, if I found out experimentally that plate contains 55 number of bacteria. Now what will happen? That count will gives us, we have to go for the back calculation to find it out what was the number of bacteria were there in the original inoculum. As in this slide, this one I took this plate and this plate contains suppose 55 colonies, but what I need to find, I have to find out the number of bacteria within the original inoculum which I took in the starting, that how much bacteria were there within the original inoculum. Now what I have to do, I have to go for the back calculation. Now how I will do the back calculation? If I have seen that 55 colonies are there within this Petri plate, what will happen? That 1 ml sample was taken from this test tube and this test tube was having 1:10,000 times dilution, means this sample was taken from this 1 ml sample was taken from this 10 ml sample, and if it contains 55 colonies, then this test tube, how much bacteria will be there within this test tube? This test tube, as 1 ml of this sample contains 55 bacteria. Now this test tube has that similar same sample of 1 ml which contains 55. Now we have 10 ml in this. In this 10 ml we will have in 1 ml if we are having 55 bacteria, then in 10 ml we will be having 550, 50 into 10, 550 bacteria. Now but what happened? That 1 ml was taken from this test tube and this test tube was having, that is more number of bacteria. In this we were having 55, that 1 ml was taken from this test tube, and so that's why this contains total 550 bacteria, and that 550 bacteria were taken from this test tube, and 550 bacteria, that means 1 ml of this sample was containing 550 bacteria. And now after that again we will move back, as there was 10,000 times dilution and this 1 ml was containing total 550 bacteria, 5500 bacteria, that 1 ml was taken from this. This indicates that this test tube contains number of bacteria that is 10 times more, that is if we are having 5500 in this, then this will contains 55000, means we have diluted 10 times from this to this, from this to this, and from this to this. If this contains 55, this will contains 555, this will contains 5500, this will contains 55000. So this indicates in this way, by doing the back calculation we can easily count the number of bacteria in the first Petri plate, in the original inoculum. So moving towards the tabular representation for that plate in which I selected, that was containing 55. So back plate, back test tube will contains 550. If we move backward, it will contains 5500, next will contain 5500, and original inoculum will contain this much number of bacteria, means you can also represent in the form of exponential or 10 raised to power this 55 in the initial plate we have selected, in which we can easily count the number of bacteria, that was containing 55. second that test tube containing 50 that Petri plate was containing 55, but the sample from which the test tube from which that sample was taken, that was containing 55 into 10 raised to power 1, this was containing 55 into 10 raised to power 2, this was containing that is the third test tube was containing this one, and first test tube was containing this one, and the original inoculum was containing that is this much number of bacteria. So, actual calculation for getting the viable count is 55 into dilution factor into plating volume, means whatever the count will come on the plate which we have selected for counting, we will multiply it with the dilution factor, and after that we need to multiply it with the plating volume. So, these are the references which you can follow for that is first we went for the microbial growth, and second we have dealt with the counting tech methods or quantitative estimation of viable count or total count, and in this I have explained about the viable count, how to find the viable count using serial dilution plating technique. So, these are the references which you can go for and follow for, that is best book I always recommend for to the students, that is Kier Aneja, in which is mainly based on the experimental grounds, and you will be able to easily go for counting techniques, how we can determine the number of microorganisms within the culture media, whatever culture media we want to quantitatively estimate. So, thank you so much, thanks a lot.